New York, Web Desk. The notorious cryptocurrency fraudster who committed the biggest fraud in the history of the financial world was sentenced to 25 years in prison and ordered to forfeit $11 billion in assets. According to foreign media, Judge Lewis Kaplan handed down the sentence in a Manhattan court on Friday. Bankman-Fried, the front company for the bankrupt cryptocurrencies, was convicted of fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering late last year. During sentencing, the judge described Bankman-Fried as a mathematician who sought to gain power and influence through deliberate wrongdoing. Although Bankman-Fried apologized for the fall of SKEX, saying he made many bad decisions, the judge declared, Bankman-Fried knew it was wrong. He knew it was criminal. Bankman-Fried made several perjury statements. Bankman-Fried, his defense attorney and the federal prosecutor made statements before the verdict was handed down. Bankman-Fried apologized, blaming the SKEX crisis on mismanagement and saying he was sorry for what had happened. He praised his former employees and executives, including co-founder Gary Wang and his ex-girlfriend Caroline Ellison. Bankman-Fried claimed he wished he could help customers return their funds, but he was no longer in a position of power. Bankman-Fried added, my useful life. The judge said that although he took into account that Bankman-Fried suffered from autism and was socially awkward, he had committed a very serious crime. The ex-billionaire had no intention of taking responsibility for his crimes. He continued to lie about his conduct, saying he had never seen a performance like this, adding that he could have seen the danger. If Bankman-Fried succeeds, he will do more wrong things in the future. Prosecutors had sought a prison sentence of 40 to 50. In a statement after the sentencing, federal prosecutor Damian Williams said Bankman-Fried's sentence sent an important message and would deter the defendant from committing fraud again. In pre-sentencing arguments last month, Bankman-Fried's lawyer urged the judge to show leniency, saying his client's maximum possible sentence of 100 years was outrageous. Bankman-Fried's lawyers were demanding a prison sentence of around 7 years. Kaplan recommended that Bankman-Fried be sent to a medium or low-security prison to allow family visits. Just 2 years ago, Bankman-Fried was poised to become one of the most financially and politically influential people in America. His firm SKEX was worth $32 billion and he had become the public face of the cryptocurrency industry. Appearing on stage at events with celebrities and former world leaders, Bankman-Fried was a major political donor, pouring money into election campaigns. He was arrested weeks later in the Bahamas, where he and other SKEX executives resided and where parts of his company were based. Many of Fred's top executives and close associates, including his girlfriend Caroline Ellison, testified against him during the trial. Ellison, the former chief executive of Alameda Research, FXDIG's trading arm, told the court that Bankman-Fried directed him to commit fraud and used SKEX customer funds without his knowledge. After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury in Fred Bankman's trial found him guilty of all 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy, despite Bankman-Fried's plea of not guilty.